There we go. Hi, guys. It's Lisa here with Posting Strategies, and this is going to be a recorded video because I am not able to do the 7 o'clock live, and I didn't want y'all to miss out on anything. So, since this is a recording, if you have any questions, I encourage you to leave them as a comment underneath the recording. I will give you or I think I'm going to give you, I know it is. I'm going to give you the link to this recording. It'll be on YouTube. Then, if you have questions, post them in the group for me, and I will try to answer them as quickly as I can. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to talk about commenting and replying to your posts on Facebook. And one of the reasons, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to give you some basic information, and then I'm going to give you a couple tips. So Facebook algorithm is set up to personalize all of your feed and yeah, everybody's feed to send them relevant information that they think that you will like or enjoy. So according to Facebook, they define relevant information or content through valuable interactions, which refers to comments, replies, and any form of engagement. So this is why the algorithm will push your reach out when you have a lot of engagement, is because the more comments and the more going on, the more they consider it relevant to the people who are in your group. So that's why it's really important that we try to increase the engagement anytime that we can. And one of the best ways to do this is through commenting and replying. Another good reason to comment and reply to people is that it builds connections, not only with your group members, but within the whole Facebook community. It strengthens your presence there. The more your name pops up, the better that it is. And it helps you it also helps your post stay on top of your group members' feed. Now, I want to say off the bat that everything that I coach on has to do with your group. So much of this can be used for your personal page and for your business page, but everything that I'm going to tell you today, especially, it pertains to your group. So, that being said, the more you comment in your group, the more presence you're going to have on Facebook, and the more it's going to build your connections to the members of your group. Also, the more you comment or reply to your posts in your group, it's going to push that post back up to the top of the feed, whether your feed or theirs. So that's really, really important. That's keeping your name and your group at the top of their mind, and that's where you want to be. Another thing is that when you comment when you reply to comments on your posts, you are encouraging people to comment back, um, and to start a discussion. And you have to always think of this as a social environment, so that if you were in a bricks and mortar store instead of your online store, which is pretty much what your group is, if a customer came in and they commented on a painting of yours on the wall, you wouldn't just ignore them, or you wouldn't just give them a thumbs up. You would say to them, "What is it about it that you like so much? And I have other sizes in this," or "Where do you think this would be a good place in your house?" or whatever. So it's exactly the same in Facebook. So, and they will in turn respond to you. So the more that you comment or you reply to them, the more they're going to be encouraged to come back and respond to you. Um, it also shows the other members of your group. There are a lot of people who aren't going to comment, but they're reading those comments and they're seeing the interaction that's going on, and they're seeing your involvement. And when they see you answering and replying to comments on your posts, they see that you're involved and they like that. People want to see that this is an active, um, energetic group. It's just like in life. You know what I mean? You want to you see a group of people, at a coffee shop or whatever, and they're in a lively discussion. You're kind of interested in what is it that they're talking about. Maybe this is something I need to know. So it's the same thing in the world of social media. So they're going to see that you're involved, and also it kind of makes them feel like, well, if she's commenting on that if she's replying to that comment, then she will probably reply to me as well. Which also it kind of goes into that the fear of missing out or being left out. People want to be included. They don't want to be left out of the conversation. Everybody's got an opinion, and so when they see you replying, then they want to jump in, which leads to another great reason to comment are side conversations. So you can reply to someone on your post, and next thing you know, somebody else is replying to them as well. And then those two people get into a discussion, and you're totally out of that. But that's a good thing because now it really is engagement. It really is. And that's what you want. You want to talk to them, you want them to talk to each other, and you want them to talk to you. So the more you reply, and you reply with sincere, interested comments instead of just a simple thank you, which is good. You always, that's better than nothing. To thank people, that's a good thing. But anytime you can look at what they said in their comment and build on that, or ask a question, then that's a really good thing. Because another thing about that, especially with questions, is you will find that other people who are reading this, who may not be the kind of person who's going to comment on a post, they might be the kind of person that's going to answer a question or give a tip or just step in and say, this is how I do it, give some kind of a solution. And so the more of that can happen, then the people who do read the comments, they're going to see that your group is a place where they can get valuable information as well as see beautiful art, and they're going to want to become more and more involved. I think that the commenting, the replying, the having these threads, I think that it makes people more comfortable in your group, makes people more comfortable being online and talking about things online. Um, so another good thing about the more you can get them engaging is the longer the thread will be under the post. All of those comments create a longer thread of comments. The longer that thread is, the more Facebook sees this as, wow, there is something really going on over in that group. And so we need to push it out to more members of that group. So you want to have those long threads of comments underneath it. And the more you can encourage that, and a great way to do that is to ask questions. And then next thing you know, they're talking to each other, they're giving solutions, or they're just liking whatever. You want them to comment, but you also want them to like. You want them to put emojis in. You just want any interaction that you can get. And you can also give them likes, and you can also give their comments emojis. Just be careful with the kind of emojis that you use. Always make sure they're positive and upbeat emojis. But all of that just encourages a lot of this conversation and a lot of this talking online, which is exactly what you want for all these reasons. So now let me get to some tips to make this easier and more engaging for you too. The first thing is a pretty obvious. Tip number one is very, very obvious, but it's oftentimes overlooked. And that is that you want to turn on your notification. You want to make sure that when somebody comments, you get notified about it. And that's as simple as just going to your settings and the notifications and editing them and just turning them all on. I know that notifications can get annoying when you've got things binging on your phone all the time, but it's the greatest way to see that people are commenting so that you can do tip number 2, which is to follow up pretty quickly. You want to, and checking notifications for me is just part of the whole process of my day. I look at my notifications in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee, when I take my dog for a walk, I'm looking at them, when I'm eating my lunch. I mean, it doesn't take but 2 or 3 seconds. And if I see somebody has commented, I jump right on it and go over there and make a comment back. So that's another thing, reason for having the notifications, because tip number 2 is that you want to get back to them as fast as you can. The reason for this is that they're hot, they're on, they're there, you know what I mean? They don't wanna feel ignored, you don't want to ignore them, and so you wanna get back to them as soon as you can. Yeah, we can't always get back in a matter of minutes. I mean, they say you should probably get back within the hour. We sometimes that's not possible. But the good thing is that you always get back to them. You always comment back, not only because it's going to make them feel cared about and nurtured and heard, but also it's going to push that post right back to the top of the feed, and that's what you want too. So the good outweighs the inconvenience of trying to get back to all your comments and reply to people, but it's part of the whole customer service process. And I think it's a very important part is the replying. So tip number 1 is have your notifications, check your notifications often. Tip number 2 is to try to get back to them as quickly as you can. Tip number 3 is kind of a toughie, and I hope we don't have to deal with it very often, but when I worked at a digital marketing agency and I had 12 hotels, pretty good big brands, and I had to take care of all of their posting and all of the replying to comments and all that, it was inevitable that we would get negative comments. Okay, so what do you do when you get a negative comment? And hopefully we won't get too many anyway, but when you do, the first thing is you do not ignore it and you do not delete it. Okay? Do not just simply because somebody has come on and said your shipping's too slow, or they don't like these abstracts you're doing, or whatever they say, don't don't ignore them and don't delete them. Because here's the deal. When somebody posts in your group, I don't care if you have 1,000 people in your group, you're going to have at least one person in that group that's going to read that comment. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't care if you only have 20 people in your group, there will be somebody that will read that comment. And people want to see how you react, and people will remember how you react. So we always have to keep in mind that the people that post the negative stuff, they are still potential customers. And just because they don't happen to like something right at this moment doesn't mean that it won't come back and they be your best customer, you know? So you always have to you have to be careful with how you respond, because A, you don't want to lose a potential customer, and B, everybody's watching. So it's just like if you're in a store manager, somebody comes in and you have a busy store and they complain, everybody in the store turns around and says, how's she going to deal with that? So the first thing you want to do is you always want to recognize their pain. So you always want to thank them for their opinion, for bringing it to your attention, and that you understand that they're in pain or that they're not happy. The second thing is you want to always tell them that you're going to fix it. You're going to work on it. You're sorry that your shipping was too slow. You are testing out new vendors, and you promise that in the future you will make a more of an effort, or you will have faster shipping or whatever. You try to always make sure they know that whatever it is they're complaining about is something that is valid, because it's valid to them, and that you are working on it, and that and if you want to, if you can say it without sounding snarky, you can ask them, how would you like me to fix this for you? So that so those are kind of customer service ways to do it. Another thing is if it's, and those kind of things where it's product related, shipping, pricing, um, whatever, framing, matting, they weren't happy with how this one was this or that or the other. When it's things like that, they are easier to fix and solve. The important thing is you want to let them know that you are in this with them and that you are going to solve it and you want them to be happy. But if it's something that's political, if it's something that's religious, if it's something that goes against your value system or whatever, then it's time to take it off feed and into the private message. So that then you say, I understand that you're hurt about this, or I hear you. Let's have a private discussion. Just message me and we'll talk further about it. So that's kind of how you deal with the negative. The most important thing is you don't want to just delete it, because if somebody in your group or several people in your group saw it and then it's gone, they think, so if I have a problem, she's not going to help me, so you can't take it personal. You just got, this is business, and you will have customers sometimes that will complain or be unhappy. So you just have to always remember that in the world of sales, the customer's always right, even when they're not. so that's what tip number 3, I think. Okay, so enough of the negative, let's go on to the positive. Tip number 4, you want to always tag the person that you're replying to. So when somebody leaves a comment and it says Lisa Styles Nance, and I said, oh, I love this, color, or this is my favorite place to visit, or whatever, underneath that will be a reply. So when you hit that, click on the reply, then the little text box will come up and the person's name will be in there. So you've tagged them. So then when you comment to them and you post that, they get a notification. If they have their notifications turned on, they should get a notification that you've answered them, and they will come back and check and possibly reply again to you, or give you a like or something like that. And that has increased your engagement. So that's really important that you tag the person so that they know that you responded. And in that same vein, another thing, I guess this would be tip number 6. I might be off tips, but anyway, the next thing is to always, 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 when you always want to comment, but you always want to like too. Always give them a thumbs up, because here's the deal. They may not get the comment notification, but they will get that Lisa Styles Nance liked your comment. And then that encourages them to go back and say, what did I say that she liked so much? And then they'll go back, and maybe then the ball will keep rolling and there will be more conversation. So in the past, I think I have said that sometimes I don't do the thumbs up, but on further research, it's a good idea to, when you comment, always come back with a thumbs up on their comment, on their replies, things like that. So that, like I say, if nothing else, it forces it back up to the top of the feed, and then more people will see it and start engaging on that post. Because it's not unusual to post something on one day, and a week later, my God, you've got that post is back and there's all these people talking about it. So, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. So I think, let me check my list here. I think tag a person. Yeah. So I think I'm not sure if we went over that it's important how fast you respond. This might be, a senior moment, but yeah, you want to get back to them pretty quickly. And the good rule of thumb of that is get back to them whenever you can. If you can't do it in a short amount of time, do it later on. Just always do it. Just always try to get back to them. So I think that's pretty much all I have to tell you guys about the commenting, the reasons why I think it's just important that we never forget that this Facebook group is a sales funnel, which the operative word here is sales. And if this was a bricks and mortar environment, customer service would be, it would just be something that would come more naturally because we would have customers coming in the door and out the door. And while they're inside the building, we have the opportunity to sell them. So we have to think of these posts or these comments that they make to our posts as them coming in the building and them being part of our online shop and conversing with them and dealing with them the same way that we would whether we were, if we were in our own bricks and mortar store. The only competitive advantage that we really have in this self-serve environment is customer service. That's our big advantage is how we treat the members of our group or our customers. So the more you can involve them, the more you can converse with them, the more that you can encourage them and cheerlead them, the more that you can answer their questions and solve their problems, the more likely they are to buy from you when the time comes for them to buy something, and the more appreciated that they will feel. And that is all part of the whole nurturing strategy behind the posting. Nurturing goes well beyond just posting, a fun fact every day, or a poll or whatever, and posting each day. Nurturing goes beyond that. It's part of the human connection. And the more we can connect with our members of our group, the more likely they are to buy. And the best, I swear, that I think the best way is through replying to all of their comments and making sure they all feel heard. Um, it's good to give emojis and thumbs ups and thank yous, but if you really read what they wrote and think about where they're coming from, then you can respond with a much more um, empathetic or intentional, I guess I should say, comment that will inspire them to reply to you and other people to keep the chain going and get in on the fun conversation that's happening. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. Like I say, this is a recorded video, so I can't answer your questions right now. But if you put your questions in the Art Boss Academy, I will I'll get back to you with an answer. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope these little tips and this discussion has helped you in your business strategy. And I will talk to you next week on the posting strategy. Thanks. Bye.